Well, the camera. Oh. Yeah, I mean, this is informal. Y'all can speak up and tell me when I'm messing up.
Wow, I love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah, it took a little bit tonight, but I got it.
How is everybody?
Good.
That's really, you're gonna have to do better. How is everybody? Great. So for those of you who are out there, Michael, do you remember me? It's funny, we need to catch up because my daughter-in-law now works for 3LS.
Who is your daughter-in-law?
Lauren Weathers Ryan. She worked for Hull Strategy back in the day.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
So Krista's out there also. Yeah. Patricia Leonard. A few faces I remember. And then of course Clark came and Holly came. Thank you all very much.
Calls dinosaurs.
I didn't say you were you're like a fine wine. So it's going to be hard for the people because we can't hear you. But what I'd like to do is go around real quickly and just tell me your name, what you've done, and what you'd like to do. We're going to start right over here.
My name is Ben Charles.
Lavalier.
What?
Lavalier. Pass it around. Thank you, JD.
Go. Oh. Come on, Ben.
Well, my name is Ben Charlton. I've been in mostly service-related industries like banking for the majority of that time, but I've also done a lot of retail work, and just due to different health and memory issues, I've been looking for jobs more maybe with insurance and getting into claims or something where even though I want to continue serving people, I need to get more into the statistical and analytical kinds of things. But at this point, am I too far away?
No, you're good.
Okay, was that enough talking? Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
I was just going to help.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Brett.
My name is Brett Kling. I started off as a technical trainer, teaching people how to use software, being a system administrator, things like that. I have my degree in human resources, and I kind of want to pivot that to go into HRIS, human resource info systems.
Okay.
Done a little bit of it already.
I was an HR person one time in my life.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I've been working through a life transition from having worked in the investment management industry, then being a stay-at-home mom, to now earning my graduate degree in data analytics and seeking full-time employment back in the industry. And I'm looking at more entrepreneurial opportunities.
Okay. So you said you did that at Lipscomb?
Yes.
Did you ever meet Ray Eldridge?
Yes, he retired right when I started.
Great guy. Sorry you missed him.
Hi, Clark Liddell. I'm I guess a legacy volunteer, but I do data and systems, and have been with the same particular gig for about 9 years. So I'm very blessed.
Good to see you again.
And I'm JD Smith. I'm working with High Spring here locally, just basically as managed services, IT work. And we've been doing that for almost 3 years now. So and I've kind of come back and forth, try to help out Scott as much as I can.
Great. Thank you for doing that.
Hey, everybody. I'm Holly Toll. I was a volunteer here a long time ago. At any rate, I'm a retired elementary school teacher, and I now am an independent, private, non-medical caregiver. What I do best is bring a sense of safety and security to families and the individuals that I serve. Bring a lot of peace and mind to those families. Started doing that, assisting my own mother with dementia, and I'm really good at what I do. Comes from my heart, and have outstanding references.
Hey everyone, I'm Ellen Montori. I joined this group 9 years ago when I was part of a RIF at AIG. I found this group very helpful, and I went on to work at Freedom Advisors Wealth Management Company. Started off in client services and moved up the ladder. I was there 8 years, and then beginning of 2025, I was contacted by a recruiter about an opportunity in wealth management, going from a manager to a director, and took that opportunity and worked there exactly 13 months. And 10 days ago, I lost that job. So I'm still a little shell shocked. Yeah, I have done operations most of my life, so I can stay with finance, or I can take these skills and do almost anything. So need to come up, I know, with a better elevator speech, but I'm still just kind of figuring things out. So.
Jerry Barber. I'm retired, and happily retired, incidentally, but willing to help out as a counselor for anyone who needs career transition. I've had a long career in executive operational leadership, and happy to be here.
Cool. So Michael, if I remember correctly, talent acquisition, correct?
Just last thing. You just shake his head. You can just shake your head, Michael. We can't hear you tonight.
Talent acquisition.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there was a little. Yeah, I've been in recruitment for a long time, and
Okay.
Started at Opryland, and then went to Vanderbilt, and then I left 3LS Solution, Omni Family Services. They've got a lot of names going on out there, but in February, so it's been a little bit of a.
But Michael, we cannot hear you, so we don't have audio from the Zoom tonight. Sorry.
Folks on Zoom can hear you,
All
Michael.
right. So let me get started, and I want to engage you all in a discussion because this is about a journey. I hope you like the picture. When I was doing the presentation, I thought to myself, I need to have a background that kind of represents what we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about making a pivot, making a change. And when I was talking to Scott about doing this, and he came up with ideas, I said, this topic is my life. And it actually, the first pivot occurred almost 30 years ago. So we'll talk more about that. A little bit about me, and it'll be very little about me. I was an industrial leader first. I have a degree in engineering physics. I used to have glasses with tape across here. There was a time in my life that I wore a pocket protector. Most of you don't know what a pocket protector is. But for some of you, I'm going to really geek you out because I used to know how to use a slide rule.
Yes.
Anybody know what a slide rule is? Nice thing about slide rule, the battery never goes out. Remember that. So, industrial, I worked in the appliance industry. I worked in the automotive industry. And during that time in the automotive industry, and I'll be totally honest, so we've got a representative of the Methodist Church. We've got a recovering Catholic here. I'm a Reformed Catholic. I am the Presbyterian elder who grew up in the Catholic Church. So, God just has a sense of humor by making me an elder. But in 1993 or 1994, I got the opportunity to actually leave my career in manufacturing to work for this little nonprofit you may have heard of called the YMCA. Any of you ever heard of that?
Yeah. I was there.
Really? Which one?
Brooklyn.
Well, my heart goes out to you because that place is so busy.
Combined, is that the combined one?
Oh yeah. I could give you all the history about how it got to where it is. Do any of you know where Springfield, Tennessee is?
Yes.
I was the first board chair and the first director of that YMCA. Then I became the head of human resources for the YMCA of Middle Tennessee. which it was at that time about a $50 million organization. I'm guessing it's got to be $100 million now. Had a great job, worked for the Y. The Y was really, really growing at that time. Just goes to show you what a little borrowed money will do for you. But I digress. I got a call one day from a recruiter, a woman by the name of Karen Saul. Do any of you remember the name Karen Saul? Yeah.
Can't remember where.
See, I mean, for those of you who've been in Nashville for a while, I can drop some names that you may know. Anyway, I went to work for an engineering firm. Of course, engineer working in human resources for an engineering firm. It was almost like the perfect fit. Spent about 6 years there, and HR is like this big. And the things I really liked were talent acquisition, talent development, and leadership development. So in 2005, I started talking to my wife about becoming an entrepreneur. In 2006, so it would be 20 years on the 1st of July, I became an entrepreneur. I gave up my paycheck. I gave up my benefits. Basically, everything became at risk. For the first 16 of those years, I primarily made money doing executive search work. Then about 9 years ago, I got involved with a group called Vistage, where I do work with small to medium-sized business owners, and that's what I do today. Gosh. The changes along the way, I would say all of them were God-inspired or ordained, but I would also tell you that sometimes you get to a crossroads and you just have a choice. And I've been fortunate that I had a couple of those choices. What we're going to talk about tonight is how to kind of recognize those choices and how to kind of act on them. So when you all came in and heard what I was going to talk about, what's one thing you would like me to talk about while we're here tonight, knowing about what you thought I was going to say? Anybody? What's one thing?
I'm curious how you felt when you made this shift in your career. What were your thoughts and feelings? Were you scared? Were you
Always.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a
I'm
trite
thinking
manner.
about it too. So
Okay.
for myself.
It's thinking of the idea of like if you go to McDonald's, you can order something and you get something physical.
Yeah.
When you're making a transition like that, you're wanting to go and do something that you've got in your mind, and you're turning that into something that may not exist at that moment. So just kind of wondering how you conceive that, or able to execute it.
Okay. We'll talk a little bit about that. Stephanie.
Going
Sun
from,
is just right in the perfect
oh, yeah,
place.
right on you.
How's that?
Just looking for ideas about entrepreneurial opportunities or the transition, because when you're mid-career, you have a lot of experience and you are looking for that next opportunity. Sometimes the entrepreneur route can be that opportunity. So I'd love to hear your take on that.
I have an opinion on that one. Brett?
How to properly convince those that are looking at your path that you can pivot appropriately. Like, how do you convince them that what you've done has already prepared you for this new path?
Okay. Ben?
JB. Kind of continuing from what you were just saying, because it's been the challenge for me is like just past experiences and different skills and education. Sometimes they don't line up because I have an engineering degree also, but I never really pursued engineering. But there was a lot about the math, the sciences, and the analytics that I really wanted to continue using in that service type of job, which is how that ends. So just like you were saying, taking those and making it a convincing aspect to find the right place to apply all those things. So, and it's that's been it's just been a challenge to even get part-time work at this point.
Right.
So I don't know how, if that really answered your question.
No, it's not my question, it's your question.
I don't know.
Holly, anything you want to add?
About transition. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really have anything to do with what some of you were saying. I'm just curious how the younger folks, or maybe even people, you know, in midlife career, are using technology to find their next position.
Talk about that.
Because things have changed dramatically in the last 10 years.
Jerry, you want to weigh in?
Is Nashville still a networking town? And
Amen to that, it is. For those of you who are out in the internet land, type in a question if you have one.
So for me, and as I saw it in my career, age biases when you're making a decision to make a major change. I think that's an important piece of the consideration when you're making a change as well.
So it's interesting, you talk about age.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think a little gray hair can really help you when you become an entrepreneur.
Something like something I've heard a number of times, and not just from me, is the being overqualified too much these days. I've heard that from HR and recruiters, and that I don't really buy into that very much, but it's like there's so many people applying for the same single job, and with the internet now, it's like instead of 10 people, it's 100 to 1,000 people. And they see somebody who's already been making over $20 or so an hour and has a lot of experience and has maybe more, but then they're like someone who's just getting out of high school maybe, and being told that you're too qualified for the job because we don't have to pay you that. How do you get through some of those types of difficulties with recruiting, especially?
Anybody type anything in, Scott?
No.
Okay. So let me move on. One of the things that engineering prepared you to do that you probably just don't take for granted is how to solve problems. And companies are looking for problem solvers all the time. It's interesting. I learned this when I was in the engineering world. 50% of people who graduate with an engineering degree do not work in an engineering related job because they get hired by people who know they know how to solve problems. They work in something else. Many of them in consulting. We're going to look at why, when, how much, what, who, where, and then next steps. I just thought that was a simple way to look at it. And along the way, if you have a question or comment, just tell me. So in the why, how many of you have read the book? It is Simon Sinek. Just that, about asking why. Do all of you know what your why is? Is anybody who doesn't understand what I'm asking you?
no, what is that?
So Simon Sinek wrote a book, and in that book, he came up with the premise that you need to have a why in your life, why you do what you do. And I'm being really transparent. Why I do the things that I do and why I've done them most of the time was to provide for my family. And now what I do allows me to have more time to spend with my grandchildren, who are 6.5, 5, and almost 4. I mean, the high point of the year for me this year was that I got every one of them to a Vanderbilt baseball game.
That's great.
The downside of the year was Vanderbilt baseball ended way too early.
Oh, yeah.
But, each of you think about why you want to do what you do. It may be to work with people, it may be to solve problems. And, the why can open up doors rather than just looking at a certain company, a certain career. And I think it could even be broader than that. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Is that why you worked at the YMCA?
No, it's because I like the song.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You like to do the.
No. The other thing is, I'm going to say this. Of course, Jerry, you and I are probably close in age. I just turned 60. I turned 60.
I'm probably a lot older.
Yeah, but age is just a number. So I turned 67 this month. And I think the issue is that we live in an economy where there used to be a term that used to really make me angry. It's permanent employment. Nobody has permanent employment. And I would even say full-time employment is a misnomer. We are all temporary. Even though you may, I mean, it's just the way the laws are written. Some states more so than others. This state is a right to work state. I'm not an attorney. That is not legal advice. It's just a fact. But the point is, you need to consider that everything you do is on a temporary basis. Now, sometimes temporary can last a long time. And sometimes it will be a short time. You know, you had an unexpected truncation of what you were doing. But I would also say, I think you're going to look back at a point and realize that that was an opportunity. Any questions about that or any comments?
I was just gonna say too, Dan, I'm like you. I'm not exactly like you, but I had the last W-2 I've gotten was 2006.
Same for me.
Right. So when you said 2006 earlier, I thought of that. So that's a mental block you have to overcome, is getting a regular paycheck. And so you have to go figure out at some point in your life, maybe you don't, but I had to go figure out how I could make a living and not think about getting a job.
Yes.
How do you cobble together the things you need to cobble together to pay the bills? And part of that is just that the why. Why do I do this? You know?
Other thoughts about that? So I'm curious, you mind if I ask a question about your transition to the firm that you just left a couple of weeks ago?
Sure.
So a recruiter called you, obviously because you were very highly regarded in what you were doing. Somebody probably referred that recruiter to you.
She found me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
But
So you've got attributes that people were looking for. Now, we won't get into all the ins and outs, and I'm happy to have a conversation with any one of you after tonight. You can call me. I'm very available. But the things that led that person to reach out to you didn't stop. They didn't stop existing after that. I would even say that even through that transition, you're probably in a better position today than you were 13 months ago.
I agree. Yes.
I'm trying not to tell the story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. 1983, I've been out of college 2 years. I was living in Paris, not France. The one over on the Tennessee River. I got called into the office, my first job. They said, Dan, we've got some really bad news. We're going to have a reduction in force, and we have to let a couple people go. And you're by far the most mobile. You've been here the shortest period of time. We're very sorry. So you're thinking to yourself, that's really a bad thing, right? It was not a bad thing. Here's why. 8 days later, my father passed away. That was not a good thing. But the good thing is that I didn't have a job, so I was able to actually go home and spend the last 7 days of my dad's life by his side. And I was there when he drew his last breath. The other thing that was good about that was that nobody here is from Arizona. Okay.
I haven't been there.
The only thing that's good about Paris is it's 25 miles from Murray, Kentucky, where my wife and I met. So anyway, sorry for the slam on Paris. But that allowed us to pick up and move, and we came to this area. So, even when something occurs that immediately looks like it's a challenge, sometimes it is an opportunity. And it is all here, and it's based on what's called mindset. Have any of you read anything about mindset and know anything about it? Here, so the other thing, Clark and I were talking about this. I read way too much. There's a woman by the name of Carol Dweck, Dweck. Don't buy the book. Go to YouTube. Look up Carol Dweck mindset. And you're going to learn about how your mind will either help you or hurt you, depending on whether you let it. Carol Dweck has done amazing research on mindset. There are many others, but you want to watch her video. Are you all catching that out there? Carol Dweck, Dweck. Got it? All right. The other thing is, a lot of times people are in transition because they're wanting to get away from something. If you can find a way to actually call the play where you're moving because you want to, it's good. I mean, even nobody likes to have to go out and find a job. But how many of you have heard the term golden handcuffs? You know, sometimes we're making just enough money and we have just enough security that it's like, I can put up with that for another 6 months. And you shouldn't have to. You were going to say something.
There's a time for everything, and I can remember a number of times. In my career when I said, "This is the time. I've done all these things. Now maybe I take it and move it this direction."
It reminds me of Ecclesiastes, but I'm not a biblical scholar. There's also a famous song by that term.
Yes.
Had that in there. So when transition time, a lot of times transition is not because we've chosen to make the move. Sometimes it is. But I would always say, even if you're not in transition, you need to be prepared for transition. I'm going to use a bad term. Not bad, it's just not used this way normally. How many of you know what a prepper is? What's a prepper, Brett?
Someone who tends to, I wouldn't say, maybe over prepare for a worst case scenario.
Okay.
Or that prepares extensively for a worst case scenario.
So probably in the most common term, I would say yes. I would say that in this economy and as the economy moves forward, you need to adopt more of what I would call a pseudo-prepper mentality. That means you need to have an emergency fund ready to go, even if it's the best of times. You need to have a resume that is updated, and you need to have a network that is not stale. A lot of times, I will see people, and sometimes I've done this also, that I get that done and happy. And as a result, I stop doing what I need to do. I stop staying in touch with people, all of those things. So as a result, when I need something or if I need to make a move, I'm not prepared. So you need to be prepared all the time. That sounds really bad, but I just say that's just the world we live in. Thoughts about that?
Well, especially with AI. Where's that going? Well, in this context.
And just to hear you speak of that reminds me that, for instance, the island of Hawaii, they have to plan strategically so far to have what things they have on their islands as far as food and resources go for the period of time that it will last. They have to think of that because they're so far removed. And then I think of people like, say, for instance, my sisters who are getting more into like home canning and things like that.
Yep.
Things like that can last a lot longer. And if you have the mentality that our ancestors had of you store things up like that, I think even in biblical terms is like storing things up. You know, we just have gotten out of that mentality because we can walk into McDonald's and order food, you know. But that's not how our ancestors lived through things because they weren't always that convenient. We just have gotten very maybe complacent about it on that aspect of it.
I mean, sometimes, you've got to be ready if something changes. So,
yeah.
So, prepper. The word prepper.
It's more, maybe more toward the extreme, of like people that stockpile, cartons of toilet paper during COVID or something like that.
Yeah, so originally being from Texas, I know Texas has long ice storms that might last weeks. And if you're on a piece of property, large piece of property, they prep. They prep with the food and the water and the generator and that sort of thing. So that's what came to my mind. You said prep.
Yeah, there's a movie that came out about 6 or 7 years ago. Barack Obama was involved in producing the movie. It's actually set in the Northeast, and I wish I could think of the name of it because it will scare the crap out of you, and then again it won't because it shows what happens when things don't work out the way you think. Anyway, how much? So I'm going to talk about my own personal story here. In careers, sometimes I cannot tell you how many times when I worked for the YMCA, I would have somebody come to me and say, I really want to have a job where there's real meaning in what I do. And of course, I love my time at the Y. The highest highs, the lowest lows, sometimes in the same day. But the point I would make is there are so many different things that you can do. There's, of course, technology is changing things, but people are still going to be people. My time in the nonprofit world was very rewarding personally, and I didn't have to take a haircut financially, as some people do. If any of you work in the nonprofit world, what did you do in the nonprofit world?
So it was a training.
Sorry.
It was a training organization with certification for professionals in a particular call center acumen for about 7 years. And I did take a haircut, but I wanted to make it happen for the industry. And it also provided me a lot of connections for the future once that I was part of that.
Anyone else work in the nonprofit world? Yes. What'd you do? Thank you.
I worked for the Salvation Army and did their Red Kettle campaign. And it was just a great opportunity to network with a lot of people in the downtown community, Rotary, various contacts like that.
I bet you made connections there that you still can fall back upon today.
It was for a very short time period, and then I got into graduate business school, so I ended up leaving town to go to graduate business school. So I couldn't follow up on those connections that I did make. But circling back, you do cross paths with people, and we usually it's like, I know I've met you somewhere. Where have I met you before? So it's kind of an unusual thing in Nashville these days.
So I'm jumping ahead to the who, but I will tell you, making connections to be prepared for the future is an ongoing activity. I mean, I work for a nonprofit. I had my own center board. I got to know the volunteers who work for the YMCA as a whole. I made relationships during that period of time from 94 to 01 that I can still fall back upon today. The other side of that is many of you may just be a volunteer. Never discount what you will learn from being a volunteer, because many nonprofits will allow you to do something that may not be your core job, that you may end up picking up a skill set or meet people who will be beneficial. And I would also say people will want to call on you as well. I'll give you a personal example. When I worked for the YMCA, we learned how to raise money. I love to raise money. I love to ask people to give money, but it's only for causes that I truly believe in. This year, I've been involved personally in raising, not just me directly, but as part of a group, over $250,000. And it's very rewarding because I see the impact of the people giving that money. I would have never learned about raising money had I not been a volunteer for that nonprofit and then an employee. So other things to consider, there are trade-offs when you make a transition, especially if you're a nonprofit. Sometimes you have to give up money, but you may get peace of mind. How many of you have worked in a role where you had no time and your job controlled your life? Your most recent job?
Yes. Yes, I've been making plans and preparing since 10 days ago. I lost my job, but I just was so stressed and burned out and decompressing as well. Yeah.
So
If I may share quickly. Sorry to
please,
interrupt.
go ahead.
The day that I lost my job, which completely shocked me, I didn't think that was happening. I didn't go to my friend's father's funeral. She lost both parents within 9 weeks, and she's younger than me. But I didn't even think to make plans to go because we were so busy at work and had so much going on. And I went into work and was told, you no longer work here. So, but yeah, it was no work-life balance.
So you're actually starting to feel what it's like to go back toward equilibrium right now.
Yes.
Good science term there, right? It was chemistry. The other thing is, as you make a transition, sometimes it may not be one step, it could be in stages. So remember, I told you that I started out in physics, now I work with people. You don't find many people who go into hard sciences who like to work with people. Here's one of the jokes in the engineering world. You know how to tell somebody who's an extroverted engineer? You know the answer to this?
Sharing a spreadsheet.
No,
What is it, Clark?
they look at your shoes.
They're looking at It's exactly right. But that also works very well for accountants.
That's the way I've heard it before, but.
Yeah. Bad humor. So the what's, if you're, all of you right now are trying to discern what's next. You've got a lot to offer. Clark and I were talking beforehand. How many of you are playing with AI at all? So here's what I did today. So I use ChatGPT a lot. I use Claude more now. You could also use the Microsoft tool. I took my LinkedIn profile, I loaded it into Claude and said, what would be a good next career step for me? Now, I'm not saying that you should trust your life to AI, but it is accumulated knowledge. It's not wisdom, it's accumulated knowledge. See what an impartial third party might say. Oh, yes?
That's terrific. That makes me want to use it. So as an educator, the Department of Education is throwing AI at educators and young students. So I do not embrace that philosophy because a young child needs to learn how to problem solve. They need to do the critical thinking. We already know how to do it.
I know.
Right. So I've been very hesitant on using it because I do not want to abandon my problem solving ability, my critical thinking. But what you just said sounded terrific, and I know you're a problem solver, so that's good.
Sometimes I'm a problem causer too, but I digress.
Educators can read a paper, a thesis, a document, whatever. They can tell if ChatGPT wrote that.
Sure.
And it's, I as an educator for children and even college students, I think it tempts students to be lazy and not think for themselves.
Any tool used in the wrong manner can cause damage.
Right. And so that's my
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Claude, what, how do you?
CLAUDE.
Yeah.
That's website, Claude, or?
No, Claude is an AI.
It's an AI tool.
Yeah, you got Chat GPT.
They all have a free version
Yeah.
and they all have a $20 a month
10 minutes.
subscription, which gives you more.
All of these have like free access and then you can get more.
I think Microsoft is Copilot.
Yeah, Copilot.
Right.
And then I think there's Grok, which I don't use.
Grok, Grok, yeah.
And then what's the one that Google has?
Gemini.
Gemini. I just haven't gotten there because
Just don't use it much, so.
I have a local installed version of something called Odysseus,
Mhm.
and it runs locally.
Odysseus, okay.
Really.
How do you spell
Just like the book.
Okay.
There you go. Can't spell that one either.
YSFE-less.
it's all Greek to me.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sad pun.
Well, and I was using AI at work and I agree with the, problems on it, but it's also a time saver.
Can be.
Because I needed to. I'm sorry. Yeah, just saying AI is also a time saver because I was creating standard operating procedures, SOPs, and I had like 4 documents. And instead of like putting them up on my monitors and picking out parts, I just uploaded them all to AI and asked it to make me an SOP and then of course proofread it. So it saved me a lot of time.
That's true.
You gotta proofread though.
Oh, yeah, I
Well,
proofread it, yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't trust.
So a couple of other things as you're kind of going through this step-by-step process. And you're what? You need to reflect. And in America, we don't reflect. In fact, the world, we don't reflect because we are too absorbed with this or things. So I would encourage you to just take some time where you are not connected to technology. Maybe get a clean sheet of paper and a writing utensil. I know it's a foreign concept. And just think about in what you've done, what is it you've done you've really enjoyed? What is it you've done that you didn't like? I would also say you need to have conversations with people that you have worked with or know you well and get that feedback and ask them, what is it you've seen in me that you think I do well? Because we all have blind spots. And people who are around you are going to see things that you don't see. You need to ask them. Other thing, everybody has a dream role. And sometimes that dream role changes. I think back when I worked for the Japanese, I wanted to be the manager of manufacturing. The first time the job came available, I didn't get it. A year later, I got it. 6 months later, I hated it. That's when I went to work for the YMCA. So, what is a dream role today may become a cast-off later, but don't be afraid to try something. And we talked about feedback from others. I can't really say enough about that.
Dan, I was just gonna say that feedback from others, that hits a point. That feedback from others is just meet with people that you appreciate their opinion of because you've worked with them before, let's say.
Yeah.
And just have a cup of coffee and ask them for their feedback and advice. But the other thing I would say too is you talked about the quiet time and reflection, the clean sheet of paper. And I would also add to that, set aside time every day for prayer and reflection.
Absolutely.
Because you really will learn a lot about yourself and the thing that God wants to help you find next.
Yeah. It's who here has read the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry? Have you read that?
I haven't read it, no, I heard about it.
So the book is written by John Mark Comer. Who are my readers in the room? So to my readers, do you have a subscription to Libby or to Hoopla?
That's through the local library. You can get Libby
Okay.
for free.
I was gonna say, As an engineer, I am cheap. And of course, my parents grew up in the Depression. That's one of the advantages about being a boomer. You know, you just learn how to squeeze a penny. But Libby and Hoopla, a lot of books that I will mention to you, you can get for free using that tool, especially if you're patient. Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. It'll talk more about the device thing, among many other things. We live in a hurry where hurry is the enemy.
So, what is living?
There's like National Public Library, that's their online book reading tool.
But I mean, it could be any
Others,
library.
Any library, yeah.
Just if you go to, you have an iPhone, go to your app thing and look up Libby. It's free. You have to have a library card though, which is free also, I think.
So what is that book talking about, the ruthless elimination?
It's called, that's the title, Ruthless Elimination of Hurry.
Of hurry. Oh.
Hurry, Hurry.
Got it.
And what was the other one you mentioned besides Libby? The other
Hoopla, Hoopla.
And people that are Amazon folks get a free, don't you get a free book a month or something on the Kindle?
Yeah, but that's a very small, you can only get what they, like from like, it's not anything.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing that makes Hoopla even cooler is you get videos through there too. Anyway. The Who. None of us is as strong as all of us. Your network, the people you surround you with, your posse, your team. I remember back in the days when Holly and I and Clark all first met, we would be over here on Monday nights and we'd have 200 to 250 people in 2008, 2009. You've got to have a support group. So it can be people from here, it can be other people you know. Call me, occasionally I answer, no, I'll answer. And I do respond to texts probably about as well as anything right now. So I'd be glad to give you my text number. You need to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses, your challenges are. And I think as well, sometimes you need to step out of your comfort zone and your network. If you always go to the same places, you're never going to meet anybody new. I'm a sports guy, but you know, maybe I need to go to the symphony, or maybe I need to go to an event that I wouldn't normally frequent. You never know who you're going to run into. Or if I'm a Lipscomb person, I might even go to Belmont. Okay, just strike that, right? I'm just kidding.
Go to a book study.
It's exactly right.
Barnes and Noble, or whatever, yeah.
Or go to Parnassus.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if you dip your toes in different areas, you're going to run into people that, you know, sometimes you're going to cross paths with somebody you haven't seen for a long time. It's like when Clark and I traded messages today, it brought back a flood of memories. The other thing, and this is the thing that has really changed the most since I did a lot of work in career transition, is the fact that a lot of work takes place in a place other than an office or a facility. A lot of you, how many of you work remotely at least 50% of the time? I mean, for me, even when I got started as a consultant 20 years ago, I went to an office for the first 4 years. And I'm a flaming extrovert, but I've learned how to become an introvert. My wife would disagree with that, but I really have. But don't become too secluded. The other thing you need to think about in your work is what kind of a work situation you want. Do you want to be at home? Do you want to be in an office? It's really important. I think this is my personal opinion, I think it's dangerous to only work from home. I think that is one of the real challenges we have in our society, especially with younger people. Now I'm going to sound really parental, is they've become too isolated.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Could I add to that?
Sure. Please do.
I'd like to add to that comment. I noticed here at BUMC, when we were coming out of COVID, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal about this woman and how she pulled out a picnic table and painted it turquoise. And right out here on this front lawn is 3 turquoise picnic tables. And what it is people sit down at it because they're lonely and they're wanting to talk with somebody. And now more than ever, people are gravitating to public places. Nobody's talking, they're just sitting with each other because they're lonely. This isolation, this remote work, this being in the phone or the computer all the time is really taking a negative effect on human nature, such that people are searching for these activities. They're trying to get out more and not be as isolated. And it's not just the older generation, it's the younger generation too.
I completely agree. All right. Other thing is relocate. In my recruiting days, of most of the clients I worked with, having somebody work virtually, you got to be kidding. I think now it's become more and more commonplace. So next steps, where are you? What's your plan? Who are your advisors? What are your concerns? What are your resources? And resources, sometimes that's financial, but I would also say that the greatest resources you need to concentrate on are what you're doing to learn and who you're adding to your network. Likewise, communicating and letting people know. I can remember some of the best communications I ever got from job seekers. There were some people who were much more disciplined than I ever was. They would send out every 2 to 3 weeks an update to everybody that they're in correspondence with about the status of their job search. You know people like this. And I'm not saying you need to be that good. If you are, kudos to you. But the better you stay in touch with people, the more they know you're serious about what you're trying to do.
It's an amazing idea.
It really, I mean, and I would say that, you know, a lot of this took place by email before. I think text, I mean, I've become a big fan of texting. So you do what's comfortable for you. Maybe you do both.
I'm just chuckling because my dad said me seven, and when
Lovely.
yeah, I'm just chuckling because my dad's 77, and when he first got a text message, he said, "Ellen, why would someone send me a text message and not call me?" And if you think about it, it's hard to answer that nicely, but now 5 years later, it's like, Ellen, I can't live without text messaging.
And people ask you, like, call them on the phone. Like,
Yeah, are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, but email, we get inundated with so many emails now, mostly from marketing, and every time you buy something, they put you on your list that a personal email just gets lost in the shuffle. So,
All right.
texting.
So questions, I think we're just about right at time. Huh?
Anybody online have questions? Anybody online have any questions? We're watching the chat if you do.
So I'm going to put
Anybody here? Questions?
let me put my cell number in the chat. Can you do that? 615-202-0883.
Do you have any phone?
6 months started, go to 0883.
I can do better than
There you go. It's in the chat.
Do you have a iPhone?
No, I don't.
I don't know if this will work with other devices, but if you have an iPhone, you can actually put your
Yeah, let me open it up.
Stay away from Apple as much as possible. Looks like everyone's.
there you go. Sure. You just got my contact information.
Thank you.
Is that not the coolest thing?
Is that?
Let's see.
We just put like this and then his contact info.
I just passed. You have test limits version.
What do you have, an Android?
No, it's an iPhone.
No, is it?
Oh, iPhone?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it should go.
Yep.
No, it should work here, so.
You can show that one to your father. Close mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the Dan 202.
Maybe overlap a little bit.
Why it's not
202-0883.
202-0883. I don't know, why it's not working. I haven't had it.
Yeah, by default, right?
Yeah, you have your,
Yeah.
turn your, camera on.
QR.
All right, here it is, right there.
All right.
If I try the QR.
Yeah, just scan that with the,
I was gonna let everybody here know, and you made me think of this second. Our minister church here was talking about, he put a little pie chart a few weeks ago about effective communication. And the way the pie chart was split up is about 7% of communication had to do with the content of what you said. 38% was your voice, your inflection. But 55% was the actual human interaction, your body and everything else you would, attain from having a personal conversation with somebody. And you think about when we're dealing in this world of text and emails,
that's
we're
me.
in that little 7% pie slice. And so, I mean, all you people that are here, you're meeting people, you're talking to people. It's really important. You really get to know people. It's very different than a text.
So the human connection is.
Yeah.
The human connection is very important. So I had the great pleasure of leading a very large group in India. And in the company that I was at, Deloitte, we had great video connectivity to those groups. But it was never the same as when I was there in their presence to connect and get things done. I would spend all kinds of video time with them. Didn't matter, but when I was there, it was a big difference for both sides.
Right.
No matter how well you use our video.
Right. So
Yep.
don't feel like you
So, airdrop.
this kind of way.
Yeah, airdrop.
It's the people that come, it's not way.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, no, Wi-Fi.
So, this is under general.
Pretty cool. I don't remember who showed me that.
Feedback.
You have airdrop?
Any other
questions?
Airdrop.
Well, you have to have airdrop set up with.
All right, folks, I think we're gonna go shut down now. They're playing with iPhones here. I hope you all have a great 2 weeks.
Okay, so now, just so it's.
Send my email.
Perfect. So who did you last one? If you don't mind me asking?
Six string all over.
Oh, yeah.